All right, good day, everybody, and welcome to Headline Hits with LW. It is Wednesday, April the 13th, 2022. A lot of things in the news, some interesting things, some disturbing things. Of course, uh, the subway yesterday in New York, we're going to get to that at the end of this segment. So let's just dive right into the headlines. I found this pretty interesting this morning. We'll read about it and see where it all kind of ends up. So MSNBC's Melber, new generation of GOP, quote, organized around election lies, science lies, and QAnon lies, end quote. What's that all about? A lot of people reporting on this and about how the QAnons are crazy and conspiracy theories and blah, 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 blah. MSNBC's host, Ari Melber, said Tuesday on his show, The Beat, end quote, at the next generation of Republicans was, quote, organized around the election lies, science lies, and Aeon lies, end quote. Well, what's he talking about here? Of course, we know that the lamestream media and that the left, the globalists, are always going to paint conservatives, Trump supporters, and the like as crazies, as conspiracy theories. But are we? That's the question. A lot of these conspiracies, so-called conspiracies, have become conspiracy fact. So who are the crazies? Is it us? Discussing Representative Madison Cawthorn, a Republican from North Carolina, a member said a rookie member of Congress made a false allegation with no evidence against some of his fellow Republicans, and it's not his first lie. It's a congressman who lied about Trump's losing the election and talked up an armed resistance with bloodshed. Then the Republican lied about apparently his own Republican leaders, accusing them of holding cocaine orgies. He offered no evidence. Is this somebody that we want running for politics in our country? Or are they painting this person to be a crazy? He continued to say, so how did this young Republican get this way? Political analysts note that while Cawthorn is wrong and should be held accountable, he's also part of this new generation of Aeon Republicans raised on a steady diet of diverse, demeaning political crap. He was 15 years old when Trump endorsed. He was 15 years old when Trump episode birthed him as a 13 when Sarah Palin claimed Biden pals around with terrorists. So what they're trying to paint here on us, folks, is that we're a bunch of crazies. And if that's the category that you want to put me in, then I'll proudly jump over there and stand tall. Because I can tell you right now, a lot of this stuff is coming out. If you guys haven't paid attention, the lieutenant governor of New York has just been arrested yesterday. A lot of things coming out, a lot of things in Wisconsin and Michigan, a lot of stuff coming out. So I proudly stand in the crazy category. I proudly stand in the category of conservative, of Republican, of patriotic Americans. So paint me all you want. I'll wear it with a smile. All right, let's hit the next headline here and let's talk about old Putin in his pants himself. One chart exposes Joe Biden's Putin price hike as a lie. One simple little chart proves his fraudulency. Joe Biden is lying when he blames inflation on Vladimir Putin. The spectacle of a bird dropping a dookie on Joe Biden while he spoke in Iowa Tuesday reflected the national disgust at Biden's ongoing lethality of lies. So it's just one lie after the next, after the next, after the next. But yet the previous article I just told you guys about puts us in the category of a bunch of liars and crazies. All Biden does is lie. All his White House does is lie. All his media does is lie. The White House even claims a bird didn't poop on Biden. According to them, a piece of popcorn pooped on Biden. Where's corn pop when you need him, right? Does corn poop? The question is, don't ask me. I'm a biologist. Oh boy, but I don't know. Corn pop, corn poop is pretty close to corn pop. I'm going to leave it right there, folks. I'm going to leave it right there. I hope you appreciated that and got a good laugh out of that because I sure did. All right, more serious headlines. Soros funded group praises Biden's plan to open border. Quote, step in the right direction. What's that all about? Well, let's dive into it. The Center of American Progress, an influential lobbying group and financially linked to billionaire George Soros, is praising President Joe Biden's plan to open the United States-Mexico border by ending the Title 42 border control first imposed by former President Donald Trump. The Center of Disease and Control and Prevention, the CDC, has announced that Biden will end Title 42 on May 23rd, which is right around the corner. The authority, which serves as a border control measure, has allowed federal immigration officials to quickly return nearly 2 million illegal aliens to their native countries over the past 2 years. Now, we've talked about this lots of times here on LWN. We talk about how last year was 1.9 million illegals that crossed the border in 2021. We talk about roughly 500,000 illegals are at our border in a 28 to 30 day period every month. We talked again earlier this week or late last week about now that estimate has gone from 8,000 to 18,000 a day, could all the way go all the way up to 20 to 30,000 per month or per day at our border. And those numbers at 30,000 a day equal about 900,000 a month, which also equals almost 6 million just this year is possible. George Soros and his foundation is backing this, folks. Why is it? Through 56% of Americans, including 52% of swinging voters and nearly 3 in 10 Democrat voters, oppose Biden's ending Title 42. The Soros-funded Center for American Progress is praising the administration for the move. It is a piece titled "Ending the Title 42 Expulsion Policy is the Right Thing to Do," end quote. The group's research analysis that they've done suggesting that there is no scientific reason behind the border control to begin with despite the overwhelming number of the sickness cases in Central America and Mexico. So they're saying that there's no evidence of these people crossing our border and being sick or ill. There's no testing going on. There's no restrictions. There's no mandates on these people. They are allowed to cross borders or be shipped to certain places in America despite that. But yet I read an article this morning where they're talking about more restrictions and more face covering mandates on flights again and other places. But yet these illegals are able to just travel freely wherever they want in America. All right, next headline. Let's talk about this. It's something that's concerning to me. I keep trying to tell you guys about this, and I hope people are paying attention. Global food crisis. Germany, wholesale, see highest percentage price rise in 60 years. As the global food crisis worsens thanks to the ongoing war in Ukraine, wholesale prices in Germany have spiked, seeing their greatest yearly rise in 60 years. The wholesale cost of fuel, minerals, and food in Germany have seen their greatest yearly rise in 60 years, prompting fears of stock and storages and sky-high prices. Germany, along with a host of other European countries, is already experiencing chronic shortages in a variety of products, including the likes of flour and sunflower oil, with food manufacturers and particularly struggling to adjust recipes and production methods to keep factory lines moving with substitute ingredients. Now, you know what happens when they start substituting ingredients in stable things that people are used to buying. Let's take for example Little Debbie pies. I love Little Debbie pies. But if they start changing the ingredients in that, it may change the texture, the taste, the size, and then people stop buying it because they don't enjoy it any longer. I mean, this has such a ripple effect across the economies of the world. It's crazy that people are not paying more attention to this. All right, the next headline. Let's talk about sickos. Schoolhouse sickos. The New Jersey lesson plan endorses puberty blockers to fifth graders to manage teen years. You heard me right. I didn't stutter. That's exactly what the article's talking about. New Jersey public school students as young as 10 years old could be taught that puberty blockers are an acceptable way to manage adulting, and that masturbating a few times a day is a healthy way to relieve stress, according to a sample lesson plans being reviewed by the state school districts. You heard me right. I didn't stutter on that one either. These are some sick, sick people that are in charge of our schools, folks. Why, as parents, are we not yanking our kids out of school yet, including myself? Now, I'm paying attention to to the school here like you wouldn't believe. But again, why am I not taking my kid out of school? Why are we not all taking our kids out of school and just teaching them at home? As a single and sole parent, it's hard for me to even fathom trying to teach my son while I'm trying to work, but it may get to that point. New Jersey public school students as young as second grade will be getting lessons related to gender identity under state sex education guidelines that will take effect in September, according to the report by Fox News. The sample lesson plans were reportedly given to the parents at the February 22nd meeting for the Westfield Board of Education in Westfield, New Jersey. According to the documents obtained by the outlet, New Jersey school districts are reviewing new sex education lesson plans that push animated videos known as a maze, in quote, for fifth graders on graphic sexual related content. If you feel you want more time to explore how you feel about your gender before your body starts to change, it's important to talk with a parent, counselor, therapist, or doctor about your feelings that you have regarding your gender. End quote. That's one of the Amaze video statements. After some decision and counseling, you may be referred to an endocrinologist, which specializes in hormones, and they are most likely to prescribe puberty blockers for someone who wants them. The video continues to say, puberty blockers are medications that will stop your body from changing, end quote. This is straight out of this video that I'm quoting here, folks. I'm not making this up. This isn't coming from some news anchor or journalist. These are quotes coming straight out of this video. These are videos that they're showing our fifth graders. Noah is turning 10 years old and will be starting fifth grade next year. These are videos that my son could be watching. So I'm on high alert. I'm letting all you parents out there be on high alert with me. Pay attention to what your school districts are putting out. All right, next headline. Let's talk about what happened yesterday in the New York subway in Brooklyn. I know a lot of people were saying false flag, false flag, false flag. I can tell you, I also received a phone call with other people that are also scratching their head saying, is this a false flag? Why could it be a false flag? Let me give you my opinion as soon as I finish reading the article. NYC, New York City subway shooting person of interest, Frank R. James, ranted about race wars and homelessness. Frank R. James, the 62-year-old person of interest in the Brooklyn subway mass shooting on Tuesday, had a history of insurrectionary social media posts. He used them to rant about coming race wars, gun violence, homeless people, and how outraged workers are homosexual predators. I mean, this guy seemed like he was pretty angry about things, right? On Tuesday morning, 10 people were shot in Brooklyn subway station while another 13 were injured. Sunday night, just days before the Brooklyn attack, the primary person of interest, Frank R. James, ranted on a YouTube video about how the war in Ukraine could bring about a race war to exterminate black people. This is him speaking, not me. Quote, "You're white, you're not, you're doing that to each other. What do you think they're going to do to you?" End quote, he said. Quote, "It's just a matter of time before these white MFs say, hey, listen, enough is enough. These N-word gotta go. What you're going to do, you gonna fight, and guess what? You're gonna die." End quote. That is from the subway attacker in Brooklyn, New York. Now, why am I bringing this up? There's a lot more to what he says, and I'm not going to read it. A lot of F words in it. Very, very angry guy. This is just a data point that I want to drop to you. This whole situation comes on the heels of the current administration putting out their new gun control laws and the ghost gun control law that they're starting to impose. How is it exactly 24 hours later, after the supposed president of the United States goes on record, does a press release, and starts talking about more gun control and more gun restrictions, that we have an incident in one of the biggest cities in the United States with a man who's definitely angry, definitely confused, maybe sick, and he goes out and shoots a bunch of people? Doesn't that seem a little coincidental? Doesn't that seem like it's just kind of set perfectly into motion? I don't know. Is it a false flag? I guess we'll find out. All right, last headline of the day. I found this very interesting. I've got a couple of phone calls on this. First migrant bus from Texas arrives near U.S. Capitol in D.C. Hallelujah. A bus filled with migrants arrived in Washington, D.C. on Wednesday morning and unloaded blocks from the Capitol. The bus traveled from Texas under recent orders from Governor Greg Abbott. The Texas Division of Emergency Management loaded up migrants who volunteered to take a trip to D.C. earlier this week, Fox News reported. The migrants reportedly boarded in Del Rio border patrol sector. They loaded them up as federal government continues to turn a blind eye to the border crisis. The state of Texas will remain steadfast in their efforts to fill in the gaps and keep Texans safe. Governor Abbott said in a written statement, quote, "By busing migrants to Washington, D.C., and the Biden administration will be able to more immediately meet the needs of these people, and they are allowing to cross the border. Texas should not bear the burden of the Biden administration's failure to secure our border." Whoo! I can't wait to see where this goes. This is, in my opinion, totally amazing. Totally amazing that Governor Abbott from Texas, he's got some stones, in my opinion. He loaded these people up, shipped them from Texas all the way to DC. If I had to guess, it's probably about a 2-day trip. You got to pay the bus drivers, fuel. I'm sure. I'm sure you got to pay for their food and lodging and all that stuff. But he shipped them right over to DC and said, "Hey, your problem, deal with it. All right, that's headline hits for today. Thanks for joining me. God bless. We will see you back here later this evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Love you all. God bless.